Northern Arizona Intergovernmental Public Transportation Authority, known as Mountain Line, has secured $16.3 million through the Bus and Bus Facilities Grant. This funding will be used to build a new maintenance facility at their headquarters, housing the entire bus fleet and boosting maintenance capabilities. This project not only supports the transition to a zero-emission fleet, but also creates jobs in cutting-edge technology. Mountain Line's grant is one of 130 awards from the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law aimed at enhancing infrastructure across the nation. Join us as we delve into the journey behind securing this grant, hearing directly from key stakeholders about the application process and its impact.
My name is Estella Hollander. I'm the planning manager at Mountain Line. And Mountain Line, we are the public transit authority in Flagstaff, Arizona. We're a small urban transit agency, and we have 9 different routes that traverse all throughout Flagstaff. We also do have a seasonal route that connects to our ski resort during winter. We have a paratransit program, a subsidized taxi program, a van pool program as well, and microtransit. Our main objective of our project was to construct a maintenance facility. So our current maintenance facility is, it was built prior to us having articulated buses or 60-foot buses. So actually our articulated buses, it sticks out of our maintenance facility currently. The grant that we received $16.3 million for FTA's bus facilities grant to construct a new maintenance facility. It's important to just be clear and to the point. Often with these grants, you only have either so many characters or so many pages. And so it's important to just, be very clear and distinct in what you're trying to say. And again, to the point of what your request is. It's also always important to have data to back up what you're saying. So if you're saying that this will improve, staff productivity because of these improvements, if there's a way to quantify that, so maybe thinking through, for example, with our maintenance facility, it'll definitely decrease the time for our mechanics, just with either making it more efficient to get different fluids for the vehicle. They're not having to kind of rearrange the vehicles, that kind of thing. So there'll be a lot of staff savings. So it's important to try and quantify that. So thinking through, is this like an hour of savings per day? And then what's that hourly rate? So being able to put some numbers to what you're trying to say, I think is super important. Also, like if there's certain energy savings, that kind of thing, it's important to try and quantify that and then put that into a monetary value. Also thinking through maybe what other improvements have you already made, maybe from a facilities or a capital perspective that you can kind of relate and show some kind of fact behind that. For example, now, over 7 years ago, we built a new bus storage facility. So very modern, and we've actually seen we've been able to increase the lifespan of our buses from 12 to 15. So that kind of data and that kind of points can be super important to just show the benefits of this project and that this money is going somewhere that'll truly benefit either your system and the community. As well as photos. So if your grant allows to have photos, I think that can say a lot. For example, we showed photos of having our articulated bus sticking out of our maintenance facility. So that can just really tell your story in a new way and really show, again, that need and why this and how this money will benefit your project. The most significant factors, I think it's important to start at the beginning, which is read the NOFA or the Notice of Funding Available. There's a lot of nuances in these NOFAs. Even if you've applied for this funding in the past and have been successful, there's sometimes just changes year after year. Also changes if there has been a new administration. There's just sometimes different focuses. So it's always important to read the NOFA, kind of go through all the details and highlight. I'll often print the NOFA, highlight it, and kind of pick out different parts that they're looking for and make sure you're really addressing all those parts in your narrative or in your grant proposal. So that's kind of the first step. I think that's super important and sometimes often kind of looked over, but it's definitely an important first step. Also just having a clear project. I know it sounds simple, but making sure it's very clear of what you're asking for, making sure there's a clear need, and that it's really clearly defined in your proposal as well. And planning. I think sometimes, for example, when we received this construction grant, we already went through a master planning process. We already went through design as well. We received a design grant previously. So it took us, several years to get to the point of being successful with a construction grant. So it takes time sometimes to get these big grants, but they're definitely worth it at the end. As I mentioned, we did go through kind of a master planning process for our current campus. So that includes our administrative building, as well as our bus storage facility, and then our maintenance facility. So we did look at it very holistically of what kind of improvements are we needing to make over kind of a 5 to 10, even 15-year kind of outlook. So I think that really helped set the stage of what type of capital, these kind of large scale capital improvements that we need to make. And then we prioritize them through that process as well. And then we also applied for a separate grant for design funds for this maintenance facility. So again, it did take us, several years to get to the point of getting this large construction grant, but that really goes towards that readiness of the project. We can show, we've started design, we've gone through environmental. Often, with these grants, they want you to be able to obligate the funds quickly, meaning, once you're awarded that you can actually, get the funds and start drawing them down. And so, and often you need to go through environmental before you can do that. So I think it's important to be able to go through that planning process. The scaling of the project really happened during that planning and as well as the design. So we did think through how could we phase this project. So maybe there's different parts that we could do in order to scale this project. So when we did submit the grant, we provided the whole ask, but we also provide a scaling option of just different phases that we could first construct. And then if we did only receive the scaled option, future years, we then ask for more funding. But luckily we did receive our full ask, which was great. But it is important, I think, to show those different scaling options. So whether it's again, maybe only design first, or maybe it's you can do part of the building, or, again, it's really important to think through what makes the most sense. Also from an efficiency perspective, if you are starting construction, if there's ways that you can construct it in certain ways to, again, kind of be able to phase that project. And I think it shows whether it's the Federal Transit Administration or FHWA that you've thought through the project of how you can maybe implement it in different ways based on the funding available. I think in terms of replicability, I think definitely the process that we went through can be repeated. So for example, again, kind of starting maybe with that master planning and then that design, kind of thinking through, what are maybe some kind of your master planning of future capital projects that your agency will be asking for. So I think that can be repeated, and we tend to have sort of certain process that we use when we have grant writing. So for example, we'll often do stakeholder interviews as well. So for example, with this project, since it was a maintenance facility, we really talked closely with our mechanics, our fleet staff, and really asked them, what is the need of this project? Like, why do we need this new building? What are the benefits that it'll bring? Essentially almost going through the NOFA and asking them some of the grant questions and getting their perspective. They know best of what you need, and what this new facility or new capital project will bring. So I think it's always important starting with the people that this project will benefit and getting their perspectives. I think it's always important to make sure you're getting people involved in the grant writing process. So at Mountain Line, we're a smaller agency. So essentially, like myself for this grant, I was the main grant writer. I was also sort of like the project manager for this project. And so, but I definitely reached out to like our capital development manager to check on the timeline, to make sure all the different milestones of the project made sense. Again, talking to like our maintenance facility. So I think that's always good lessons learned, to just always make sure that you're getting the right knowledge and kind of reviewing the process with the people who will eventually implement the project or be the project manager once you receive the funds. But something that we would do differently, I think, again, I'm really glad that we went through the different planning processes. Because I will say we applied for this grant for both the design and the construction, and then we only received the design. So, and then we reapplied for this grant to get the construction. So sometimes it takes time. I think sometimes if you're not successful the first time, it doesn't mean maybe it was a bad project or a bad grant. It could just be timing, and that maybe you need to first, do one step of the project first. So I'm glad we kind of kept persevering and kept writing this project, because now we do have all the funds, and it'll really be a huge improvement for Mountain Line, for our fleet and our facilities as well.